I'd like to call the Thursday, June 12th, 2025 regular meeting of the Nottoway County School Board. We will have a moment of silence, followed by a prayer offered by Reverend Rowe, if you choose to pray with us. Following that, if you're able to stand, we would appreciate it for the pledge.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you tonight for our school board. We thank you tonight for our superintendent, our clerk. Thank you tonight for all the staff, the parents, and the students that are here tonight. Thank you, Father, for helping us to come through the end of another school year. Pray that you continue to strengthen us, that we may continue to go forward. We thank you for all of these graduates that have graduated and pray for them as they go out into the world. Thank you, Lord, for giving us a mind to be able to come and to stand and to work for you. In the mighty name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thanks.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I have a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Awards and recognitions. Dr. Grimes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Tonight it gives us great honor to formally recognize our 2025 valedictorian and salutatorian. I do want to take the time to congratulate all of our graduates from the class of 2025 and commend both of our students for the speeches that they gave during the graduation ceremony. We do have a token of appreciation for our 2025 valedictorian, Mr. Abbott, if you would like to come forward. We have our valedictorian, Taylor Lee Atkinson, who graduated with a GPA of 4.2. We also recognize our salutatorian, Mariana Monet Epps, who graduated with a GPA of 4.2206. We also recognize those of our students who are 2025 SVCC graduates. When I call your name, please come forward to receive a certificate and have a photographic opportunity with our board chair. Earning an Associates of Arts and Sciences from GSSB STEM, we have Reina Arenza Mendez. Earning an Associate of Arts and Sciences from the Governor School STEM program, we have Seth Kendall.
Congratulations.
Earning an Associate of Arts and Sciences from the Governor School STEM program, we have Brian Lynn. Earning an Associate of Arts and Sciences from the Governor School Humanities program, Avery Shackleton. Earning an Associates of Arts and Sciences from the Governor School STEM program, Eli Skinner. Earning an Associates of Arts and Sciences from the Governor School STEM program, Hallie Turner. Earning an Associates of Arts and Sciences General Studies degree from the Humanities, Taylor Atkinson.
Congratulations again.
Thank you.
If you hang on just a second, that guy will take your photograph.
And then call the other guy.
You want this back too?
Looks familiar. Congratulations.
Associates of Arts and Sciences, General Studies, Humanities, Chloe Dillerman. Earning an Associate of Arts and Sciences, General Studies in Humanities, and also, as announced previously, just a few minutes ago, the salutatorian, Ms. Mariana Epps.
One, two, and three. Fantastic.
You can always have them crop me out of the picture.
Thank you. Earning an Associate of Arts and Sciences, General Studies, degree in Humanities, Logan Hayes. Earning an Associate of Arts and Sciences, General Studies in Humanities, Carson Lee.
Maybe hold the group up, get a group together.
We'll get them all back for you.
All right, okay. All right. Great. On three. One, two, and three. Fantastic.
We'll give them all reason to buy the newspaper. Yeah, you like that.
Earning an Associate of Arts and Sciences, General Studies and Humanities, Ashby Procyse. Earning an Associates of Arts and Sciences, General Studies and Humanities, Anaria Terry.
Congratulations.
Earning an Associates of Arts and Sciences, General Studies and Humanities, Adriana Twyford.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. And Jed.
Don't leave. If you have your certificate and just received it, would you please come back up so the editor can take a photograph without me in it? Oh, don't all leave me on this.
Get a little close together right here. Get a little close together here real quick. Here we go, right here. On three, looking great. One, two, and three. One more time. One, two.
Thank you.
Earning certificates from Southside Virginia Community College. A uniform certificate of General Studies, Jakaya Wilson. Uniform certificate of General Studies from Governor School STEM program, Karis Lindsay. Criminal Justice Certificate Program, Jalira Epps. Criminal Justice Certificate Program, Caitlin Nicely.
Congratulations. You have to come around this way.
Get this.
There you go.
One, three. One, two, and three. One more time. One, two. One more time. Yeah, hold that around. That's right. One, two, and three. Thank you. Thank you.
Electrical Certificate Program, Jackson Gray. Electrical Certificate Program, Cyrus McMillan.
Congratulations.
Great. One, two, and three. Perfect.
I should have been taller.
An Electrical Certificate Program, Alexander Morales.
Congratulations.
Accepting for Alexander as his sister.
Fantastic.
Electrical Certificate Program, Caleb Tolbert. Electrical Certificate Program, Kenneth Turner Jr. Electrical Certificate Program, Dante Watson. Welding Certificate Program, William Motley. Welding Certificate Program, Owen Schleif.
Congratulations, Owen.
Good at this. There you go. 1, 2, and 3.
Cybersecurity Certificate Program, James Arms.
Congratulations.
Fast. 3. One more time. 1, 2, and 3.
Cybersecurity Certificate Program, Logan Hansen. Cybersecurity Certificate Program, Stephen Mansell.
Congratulations, Stephen.
Perfect. 1, 2. Yes.
Want them all back?
Now we're good.
Receiving band awards tonight. The Marching Cougar Band maintained their standard of excellence throughout the season, winning awards at multiple competitions for its show with the theme Just Dance. Marching band staff, we recognize Carrie Smith, the director. Andrew Bentley, the assistant director. Alexis Williams, the guard tech. Jerry Worsham, the guard tech. Recognizing our students, marching band leadership, Lauren Lee, drum major.
Yeah, Lauren!
Sarah Allen, field commander. All right, our woodwind captain, V. Andrzejczyk. Our brass captain, Naja Zarif. Our percussion captain, Livia Lee. Go, Livy! And our guard captain, Molly Blanton. And these students participated in the Virginia Tech, we had students to participate in the Virginia Tech Honor Band, which was a 3-day event at the university, and for that we recognize Sarah Allen, who was Silver Band 3rd Chair tenor saxophone.
Let's do Virginia Tech Honor Band as one photo, then Longwood Band, one photo, then we'll get the whole big happy family.
Andrew Check, Orange Band, 8th Chair flutes. And Olivia Lee, Orange Band, 6th Chair percussion. The Longwood.
Anyone after this is over who made Longwood Band, Virginia Tech Band, or District Band, get a photo of them, and then we'll get one of everybody all together.
Okay. I'm good with that. I'm pretty sure they are too.
I'll go ahead and announce the Longwood Honor Band participants, which was a 2-day event at the university. We have Lauren Lee on the alto saxophone, Olivia Allen on the flute, Roy Franklin on the flute, Savannah Minier on the clarinet, and Elliot Andrzejczyk on percussion. Serving in the District Honor Band, which was a blind audition band made up of students in our Virginia Band and Orchestra Directors Association district, and a high honor, we recognize Sarah Allen, who was first chair, concert band, tenor saxophone. Roy Franklin, who was third chair, concert band, flute. Olivia Lee, fifth chair, concert band.
We can pause and get a picture. If you made one of the 3 honor bands, Virginia Tech, Longwood, or District, could I get y'all to come, like, stand right here? And we're not gonna leave anybody out. We're gonna get everybody. It's all over, I promise. No mutiny, please. You can get in there, Mr. Chairman.
No, I don't need to be.
Y'all can all hold that and y'all getting close together. Y'all just getting a little closer together. Yeah, this is great right here, folks. A little closer. Look on the end. Be happy. On 3, 1, 2, and 3. One more time. 1, 2, and 3. Fantastic. Thank y'all.
Let me borrow that for a little while. Thank you.
Have more band students to recognize. Being a band student myself, back in the day, this is so exciting. Mrs. Smith chaired the first ever Central Virginia Honor Band, which consisted of the top students in the rural counties of our BPODA District. 9 Nottoway High School students and 8 Nottoway Middle School students were chosen to attend this 2-day event. The Nottoway High School students participating: Sarah Allen, Sterling Price, Tariana Vaughn, Lauren Lee, Olivia Lee, Olivia Allen, Roy Franklin, Savannah Minier, Elliot Andrzejczyk. The middle school students who participated or who were selected are Maya Hill, Kimberly Rosario, Eric Lopez Ferreira, Elaine Aguilera Diaz, David Cruz Ramos, Gordon Hurt, David Miller, and Michael Hendricks. The Nottoway High School Symphonic Band went to Goochland High School for the annual assessment performance, which is the SOL test of the band, where they are rated on a scale of 5 to 1, with a 5 being poor and a 1 being superior. The Nottoway High School Symphonic Band received a rating of 2, excellent, despite the amount of instruction lost due to snow days. The Nottoway High School Symphonic Band traveled to Williamsburg, Virginia for the Busch Gardens Music in the Parks competition. They spent the whole weekend there to perform, and they won first place in their class. Congratulations to our band students. And for those who may have graduated, I would just encourage you, as I mentioned, I was a band student. I played the clarinet and the alto clarinet. Take some advice from an old lady. Don't put your instruments down. Don't lose your embouchure. Don't lose the flexibility. Keep it up. practice and play all throughout your lives because music brings joy, and I'd hate for you to lose it because you don't practice.
Mr. Colburn, how would you?
We're good. Working while y'all been talking, we're good.
Let me do this. And thank all of you.
I don't think so. See, I came casual.
How are you? All right? How was your first week of summer? Oh, you've been...
All right, recognizing.
Good yet, not yet. These are your people. Just stand right here.
Recognize our athletes who excelled in spring sports. We bring forth the athletics at Nottoway High School. And we recognize the following students. In baseball, second team all-district center fielder Trent Hayes. In softball, first team all-district pitcher and second team all-region pitcher Diane Easton.
Softball. Do them all at once?
Softball again.
Run off.
First team all-district outfielder and second team all-region outfielder Taylor Atkinson.
Good job, Tim.
Softball, second team all-district second base and second team all-region second base Catherine Gravely. Softball, second team all-district outfielder Jaden Banks.
Yeah, you need to be in there.
All right, looking good.
Picture ready.
Softball folks show up on three. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Fantastic.
For soccer, first team all-district forward and district player of the year Thomas Ingram. Second team all-district forward Daniel Murphy. Second team all-district midfield Sebastian Silva.
Lasso here. Let's get you in your chest. 1, 2, and 3. One more time. 1, 2, and 3.
And in track, district's male track athlete of the year, district champion in the 1,600 meter and 3,200 meter run, state qualifier in the 800 meter, 1,600 meter, and 3,200 meter, Bradley Hamilton. State qualifier in the long jump and triple jump, Malia Davis. State qualifier in the high jump, Kamarion Johnson. State qualifier in shot put, Anton Carter Jr. State qualifier in 100-meter hurdles, Haley Carpenter. And state qualifier in discus, Logan Hayes.
Feeling a little lonely.
Mr. Abbott.
Have a great night.
We have 6 Nottoway County Public Schools employees who we recognize for their service and their retirement from Nottoway County Public Schools. These 6 employees, their years of service totaled 168 and a half years. That is quite an accomplishment, and so I will go through the list and name the folks who are being recognized as retirees. I see one person here, so I'm going to name him last. Okay. So working my way up, we are recognizing for retiring Angela Fahrenholt, who was in Nottoway County Public Schools for 37 years, 1988 to 2025. We have Anna Bowen, who was here from 1991 to 2024, 14 years teaching and 19 and a half in technology. We recognize Cynthia Ott in Nottoway from 1994 until 2025, that's 31 years. Michael Travis Andrews from 1995 to 2025, 30 years. These are all teachers. Carolyn Jones is retiring. She was in Nottoway from 2008 to 2009 and 2023 to 2025. That's 3 years in Nottoway, but 28 years total in education. She's retiring from us as principal. And our man of the hour here with us in person, we recognize Mr. Edward Epps, who was with Nottoway from 2015 to 2024. He served with us for 9 years as a custodian, and we recognize him, ask him to come forward.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Retirement's okay.
We'll find it right here. Yes. Together here. Great. Hold that package up. There you go. 1, 2, and 3. One more time. Smile for me. Right.
I'm going to ask the board to stand, please. Dr. Grimes, join me, please. As Superintendent of Nottoway County Public Schools, Dr. Tamisha Grimes, who served this division for 6 years from 2019 through 2025, and Chesterfield County Public Schools for 21 years from 1998 to 2019 with a total of 27 years in education. Thank you for your service to the students, families, community, and this board. On with delegations from the public. I remind that generally the board does not respond to comments made during delegations from the public. The board meeting is a meeting for public business. not a public forum or discussion, will be provided if appropriate. I'll call on Deborah Ostrander. I said that correctly.
First off, if it's okay, I'd like to give each of you a copy. I made a copy of what I was going to be saying.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to try to get through this the best I can. My name is Deborah Ostrander. My 3 kids attend Nottoway County Public Schools. I'm going to start off by saying the school system is broken. I am disappointed in the leaders of Nottoway County Public Schools, and I'm beyond angry. Our children are being failed by the people who have been put in positions to protect them. My daughter has been bullied, threatened, and made to feel less than by her peers as well as certain administrators. In the last 2 years, she was threatened to be shot, stabbed, her shirt raised above her chest, exposing her to the class. The students also calling her Fatty Patty and saying they hate her because she's fat. My daughter has lost her spark. We have consistently reported it to several different administrators with promises it won't continue. Yet it continued up until the last couple weeks of school. We even asked about changing classes at open house and were told no. I have voice recordings from Crew Primary Principal stating he knows it has continued, blaming my daughter, even referring to her as grumpy poo pants, even admitting that other kids admitted to calling her names. Please look at the Student Code of Conduct, page 15, that I've provided to you, under behaviors that present a safety concern. Behaviors that prevent a safety concern. These behaviors create unsafe conditions for students, staff, and visitors to the school. This category may include, but not limited to, the following examples. Bullying behavior without physical injury that continues after intervention. You can also follow page 16. I have marked physical contact of a sexual nature, patting body parts, pinching, tugging of clothes, which is a level 1 to 3 for elementary school children. As well, if you could follow to page 34, I know it'll take a second. Okay, section 16, bullying harassment. A student, either individually or as a part of a group, shall not harass or bully others. Prohibited conduct includes, but is not limited to, physical, verbal, or written intimidation, taunting, name-calling, insults, lies, rumors, social exclusion or isolation, threatening body or posture, money or possession taken or damaged, being threatened or forced to do things, and any combination of prohibited activities. Prohibited conduct includes verbal or written conduct consisting of comments directed towards and based upon a person's race, religion, sexual orientation, national origin, disability or physical abilities or characteristics, or intellectual ability or associates of the targeted person or group. Any aggressive behavior that involves unwanted negative actions and a pattern of behavior repeated over time in an imbalance of power or strength is considered bullying and will not be tolerated. I met with Dr. Grimes on May 29th about my concerns, and we are here 2 weeks later, and unfortunately I have yet to hear an update on her investigation. I'd be happy to share either recording I have with the board at another time. Suicide is the second leading cause of death in people 10 to 24. Members of the board, let me ask you, what do your children's lives mean to you? What if this was happening to your children? When does this become a priority to you to fix these problems? You are all elected officials. We put faith in the promises and speeches that you gave us to be put in these seats, but nothing is changing. Did you forget it was on you to uphold the rules and consequences that you have handed out at the beginning of the school year? I'll leave each of you a copy here for it to be rewritten and fixed, because we as parents are tired of the lies that are written within its pages. Do better for all these kids and their futures, as well as your own depends on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Payne.
Hi. Hello. How's everyone?
Hi.
I'm here. First, I'm going to tell you about this little girl. If I don't cry in the middle of it. Her mother was just talking to you. Her name is Callie. She is the most precious child that you will ever meet in your lifetime. She has a light about her. Her spirit just shines when she walks in the room. She started coming to our church. She's in our children's church, her and her brother, and some other kids that are in Career Primary School. When I walk in the door, she's beaming, this big smile. She's running to me. She's hugging me. She's hugging everyone in the church. When time comes to sing, she's singing at the top of her lungs, hands in the air, the most precious child. And her spirit has been crushed, completely crushed. Her light has been extinguished from these kids in this school. Now when you see Callie, you see Callie sad. You see Callie quiet. You see Callie staring off. You see, when we go into class, usually I show a video. They stop me in the middle of it because they want to talk about how they're treated at school. It's not only Callie. The entire kids' church is being bullied at Crew Primary School. But she's the worst one. When you tell a child, fatty patty, you're fat, you're ugly, your clothes aren't okay, might not sound okay to big people, but it's crushing to a little girl who just wants to be a part of things. A comment was made, she asked one of the little boys if she could see his phone. Just because she wanted to be a part of things. She wanted to be included. And he continued to bully her. And she was blamed because she asked to see his phone. Because she wanted to be included. She wanted to be a part of everything. The principal at Crew Primary School, I've reached out to him twice. And the reason I reached out to him is because Channel 8 News reached out to me. And I wanted to do what was right. So I wanted to hear from him before I spoke to Channel 8 News. I still haven't spoke to Channel 8 News, but I'm going to. And I called the office. That day he was doing something with IEPs in the morning. I told who I was, gave my name, said I didn't have children, but I needed to speak with him. I have children, but they're not in school. He never returned my call. I called again. I left the same message. He never returned my call. Okay, maybe he said, I'm not going to talk to her because she doesn't have children in the school. Well, anybody deserves a return phone call. He should have called me. He should have said, I'm uncomfortable with talking to you because you don't have children in the school. You're not the parent. I don't care what he said. I deserve to call back. So now I'm not going to call him again. I'm going to call Channel 8 in the morning and say, okay, I'm ready to talk. Because I tried to do what was right, but your school system did not do what was right. It's not a threat. It's a sad thing. It's a very sad thing to watch somebody that I love be broken like that. The principal made a comment that children 3rd grade and under, it wasn't considered bullying. It was considered conflict. Let me just tell you what the Code of Virginia says. 22.1-276.01. Bullying is aggressive, unwanted behavior. Bullying is intending to do harm, to intimidate, to humiliate. Repeated emotional trauma. So when a 7-year-old girl is sitting there and all the boys are saying you're fat, you're ugly, your clothes look stupid, your hair's ugly, we hate you, do you think that's humiliating her in front of her friends? I think so. That is bullying. I did have a conversation with Dr. Martin the other day. We just ran into each other and I introduced myself. And I told her that I was going to be on this excuse my French, white on rice until something's done. And she promised me that she was going to do intense training with every single school employee about it. And I'm going to hold feet to the fire on that. But I just want you to understand what the lack of holding your employees responsible for children, what that does to them. I wish, she can't be, but I wish you could look in that precious child's face and see the light that has gone out of her eyes. She actually goes home and won't eat anything but a salad at 7. She weighs herself numerous times at 7. That is her formative years. So that's really all I have to say, but I will be watching. There are programs, many programs. I have a list of them that are available to your school to deal with the children that bully, because they have issues as well, and the children that are being bullied, their parents, classes, all of it. And I expect to see something happen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Audrey Brown?
Good evening. I trust all is well tonight. And I'm back talking about the school. As you guys know, Burkeville building. We probably will not get the funds that we want for that building. So desperate times are going to call for some creative measures. You know, in our strategic plan, we call for partnering and that we're going to take care of the families and hold people accountable, for learning and what they do and all. But yet, last month, and this month, I hear that our youngest of the youngest are being bullied and mistreated within our schools. Now, I think, as I've been talking to you guys about the Burkeville building, I do think that those children need to be removed from the regular settings of the children. This little girl should not have to go back into a classroom with those same bullies. If it's a whole class bullier, then we need a counselor to come to that classroom and talk to the whole class. If that doesn't work, then we need to talk to some parents. We need to take it all the way down to the root. But anyway, last month kids talked about their kids being bullied on school property and felt the school system had failed them. After the incident, the perpetrators were allowed to come back to class with the victims. To the parents, it appeared to be very little, if any, consequences for the perpetrators and lack of concern from the school or the school board. Wouldn't it be nice if the Burkeville Library, which is set up to be an office and a big room, could cater to those kids, have them go there instead of going back into the classroom with the kids? And that would be a great partnership. Now, as far as forming our partnerships with the community, we are food desperate. A good partnership would be the food pantry. They have revenues, they have sources of revenues that we can tap into if we allow them. How about having the community college come there and teach a class? What about that lineman class that everybody's going down to SVCC to take? That's a 30-minute drive after you've worked 10 hours, 9 hours, whatever a day. Let's give our people a break. Let's give our high school graduates who can't afford to go to a college or university a break. We can have classes there. We have to come up with something better. We have to come up with a community way of supporting the whole community, not just several people in the community. And if we don't learn how to take care of our own here, we're going to have a bigger problem than the Channel 8 News coming down here and discussing problems in our school board. Thank you.
Moving on, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? I have a question. on element E, which is let me find it. Anyway, it's somewhere we're splitting up money between Burkeville Elementary, Peru Primary and Blackstone Primary.
You're talking about the budget adjustment?
Yeah, what is that?
So the state gave us funds to be able to give a bonus to teachers. We just have to appropriate it to a line to be able to pay teachers out of. And these are just two lines that we've typically have used. It doesn't really mean, it's just the lines that we pay it out of. But we are using those funds to pay the teachers a bonus before June 30th. We received the money May 30th. We just need you all to actually appropriate it.
And it's only going to teachers at those two schools?
No, it's going to all teachers. We're just using those two lines as the line to pay them out of, so I don't have 15,000 lines to pay them.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yes, it's going to
Any
all.
other questions or concerns? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Action items. Approval of travel for the incoming superintendent. Dr. Martin will be attending the ISTE conference July 1st and 2nd. There is an administrative retreat for her and executive staff and school leaders on July 23rd and 24th. I will mention this, although I do not think it's a requirement of the board to approve. She may be attending monthly Regional 8 meetings. May I have a motion to allow her to attend those activities?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, everybody signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Non-action items. Dr. Grimes, the first reading of the 25 school board policy updates.
Right, thank you, Mr. Abbott. If it pleases you, I will combine both items A and item B because they are related.
Okay?
You have in your packet the updated school board policies as well as new school board policy drafts provided by VSB. As has been shared numerous times over the course of my tenure here, our policies are based upon law, and there's also a cycle in which policies are reviewed. Oftentimes, the updates are changes to reflect changes to law, as well as just cleaning up language, removing the male pronouns for more inclusive pronouns, and then making sure that references match. Also included in your packet, there's an explanation of the policies that you have to review, as well as a designation of the new policies that have been created based upon new laws passed during the 2025 General Assembly session. I include the cell phone policy with this as well because there was no individual cell phone policy before. The cell phone free school policy was placed into the Student Code of Conduct. But with the last General Assembly session, there is now a law that requires no cell phones in schools and a policy to be in place. And the draft of that policy is with the policies that you have for first read. As indicated in an email back to Mr. Abbott, the Code of Student Conduct is reviewed every summer by the administrative team, that's school-based administrators as well as central office. Updates are made, and it will be the new superintendent's task to work with those folks to determine and to present to the board how language in the Code of Student Conduct regarding a cell phone-free education or instructional day will be handled. But the policy specific to no cell phones during the instructional day is included in the drafts that you have for first read.
I'm not sure the best way to proceed here, because this is a non-action item, but I'd just like, I'll give the board an opportunity after I share some concerns that I have. I've gone through all of these proposals. If someone were to look at JFCM, it has to do with student cell phone and smart devices. There is a paragraph that reads, students are permitted to use and possess cell phones and smart devices on school property before or after the bell to bell. Now that's part of the sentence. The very next paragraph says, from bell to bell, students are restricted from using or possessing cell phones on school property. Now, if you can take it to school with you, but can't use it from bell to bell, what do you do with it when the bell rings if you're not allowed to have it on school property? That's one of the concerns that I have with some of the policies, the way they are presented. There are a number of others, I won't go on, but since the cell phone policy is one of those, this policy is absolutely inconsistent. I do not know how anyone could follow it without being wrong. Any other comments?
As far as what students do with their phones when they're on school property, I do know that, at least in my personal experience with my child, that it is expected to be off and out of sight, and that includes not in a pocket, so it must be in a book bag, totally out of sight, because I know my son left his book bag, he had his phone in his pocket, and it was turned into the office, because it cannot be on your personal possession at all. I don't know if that answers your question or not.
It's not a question. I think that that policy needs to be restructured so that it meets the expectation, because as sure as I'm sitting here, there's going to be a student that will arrive at school with a doctor's note that says that they have to have some electronic device that monitors some medical circumstance for that child. How we integrate that into the school's policy is, I think, a matter of importance to everyone, so that we are not unnecessarily hindering a student that needs some kind of electronic device, but that we are also trying to follow the governor's and the law currently of bell-to-bell non-use of a phone. But I appreciate what you're saying. There needs to be, if you can take it to school but you can't have it on school property, that needs to be adjusted. There needs to be a way or a method that every student understands, so that there's a way to meet that. Mr. Outlaw.
I would like to suggest that each of us take the time between now and our July meeting to read the governor's executive order on this subject. There's a lot of health information in there that we need to think about. Read the law and read the VSBA policy and come up with some suggestions. Now, I attended the governor, when he came out with the executive order, there was discussions around the state. And I went to one of these discussions, and there was there were many teachers there, and they had some pretty innovative thoughts about how these cell phones can be dealt with during the course of the day, so that the student does not have possession of them. I think we need to get together and compare notes and come up with a viable policy that I hope will be adhered to and followed.
Any other discussion on this item? Hearing none. Information items, the disciplinary committee report. I know it says Dr. Lewis, but I will defer to Ms. Duncan if you have something that you'd like to share.
Do we have the presentation that we can make? Yes, could you please?
Yes, thank you.
We have a presentation. If Dr. Grimes could make that presentation.
Okay, Dr. Grimes?
All right, actually, Mr. Chair, board members, we have members from the Discipline Committee here who are going to provide the presentation for you. Just a little bit of background. It says Dr. Lewis. Dr. Lewis had a death in her family.
Sorry to hear that.
She's not with us this evening. But what I would like to bring forward to the board is that this Discipline Committee, as you may remember, came about because Ms. Duncan made a motion and the board accepted that we form a committee to review all of our current discipline policies. Included in that review is discipline. In that review of discipline is our handbook and our code of conduct. She had specific requests about membership of that committee. We did have 4 parents to serve on the committee, an administrator from each school, Dr. Lewis, Mr. Wilson, school board rep, and Ms. Duncan, school board rep. There were 3 meetings held of the discipline committee. Does he have the presentation?
I have a PDF version. I don't have the actual presentation.
I don't have a I don't have a presentation tonight. I wasn't given one.
Was it not?
It's on the agenda. It's on the email.
Wilson, send it to Marcia. Can somebody share it with me? I'm happy to.
Yes.
Share it actually. Mr. Wilson, do you have it?
Yes.
To Isaiah, please, because he's logged in.
All right, there were 3 meetings of the discipline committee. The first meeting was held on May 1st. During that meeting, the policies related to student discipline were distributed, as well as the Code of Student Conduct and Title 22.1 of the Code of Virginia that regards discipline. An explanation of disciplinary processes and procedures was provided, and some specific definitions were also discussed. The second meeting was held on May 7th. And during that meeting, between the first meeting and the second meeting, members of the discipline committee, actually the parents on the discipline committee, had reviewed the information, read through the information, and the entire discussion was centered around the areas of focus for them. What comments they had, what thoughts they had, what suggestions they had, as well as their general observations of student conduct, and quite frankly, where we may or may not fall short in its enforcement. The third meeting was held on May 13th, and that meeting was, the purpose of that meeting was to go through the information that had been shared by the parents on the discipline committee to hash out what they wanted to have included in tonight's report so that they could make recommendations to the school board. And once we have the presentation up, the members of the committee will begin to speak about their recommendations. Between the meetings and the discipline committee meetings and tonight's meeting, discipline committee members were provided with a draft of the presentation that you will see tonight. They were given the opportunity to make comments. Each slide was assigned to a member of the committee, but we don't have all members of the committee. So we'll just lean on the 3 of you who were present to fill in. You all did a fantastic job of sharing your thoughts. Please don't feel like you have to stick to what the information that's on the slides. It is much more authentic when you speak from the heart and share freely, like, quite frankly, like you did in the discipline committee meetings, about what you identified in our Code of Student Conduct, as well as what you know about how discipline is handled in our schools.
Did you receive it, Marcia?
It is, I don't have the presentation form, I have the PDF form of it. so we can at least bring that part in.
It's on the screen.
There we go.
That's good. And before we get started, let me name the members so that those who are here might be recognized. In their absence, I will say that we had on the committee Dr. Lewis, Ms. Letzinski, principal of ANTC, Ms. Painter, who is here this evening, Mr. Page, who is in Chicago, Amy Saunders, who is the assistant principal at the middle school, Mr. Reggie Wilson, who is standing before you, Ms. Kiara Hurt, our school social worker, who is here this evening. Our school board members, as said before, Mr. Charles Wilson and Ms. Michelle Duncan. We had Mr. Bobby Carwile, who is a parent, Ms. Jalita Fitzgerald Booker, who is standing before you as a parent rep, and Ms. Mackenzie Schrader, who is standing before you as a parent rep. So we are at recommendations.
Okay. All right, I'll try to take the lead. Dr. Lewis was in charge of doing most of the slides, but I'll attempt to go through and touch on them. With the recommendations, the accountability, adherence to procedures and expectations, we talked about how, almost like we just talked about the cell phone policy, with it being even in the code of conduct, us really having to, as administrators and school officials, adhere to those policies and procedures and enforce them. We talked about the frequent infractions, the cell phones, the class removals, office referrals, and it was all, like Dr. Grimes said, it was a rich discussion because they had questions, the board members had questions, we were able to answer some of the questions and have some discussions about it, so everybody had a better understanding of some of the things in the code of conduct as well as how it works in the school and how easy some of the things are to enforce and how difficult some of them are to enforce, and we had a good discussion around a lot of those things. Y'all slides. All right, well, we talked about with the parental involvement at schools, we're really trying to work harder to get the PTA and different parental groups involved in the school to help with some of the issues that we deal with day to day. And I know Ms. Booker, she's on one of the PTAs, and I think she kind of brought that up, and from a parent perspective, realizing how hard it is for us to get the parents to really even just come to the meetings, let alone really be active in some of the things that we're doing.
You need to speak? Yeah. Hi. That was my slide. He took the words out of my mouth, but I am Jalita Fitzgerald Booker, and I will have 5 children next year going to Nottoway County Public Schools. Since this meeting, I have heard so many different things. I have mixed emotions about a lot of it. But we do have a bullying problem here. The little kids, the intermediate kids, it's in every school. People don't think their children do certain things. I know we have cameras. Some parents have to be shown. And I asked Dr. Grimes and Mr. Wilson himself, I'm like, so what do you do when the parents don't listen? And they said, we can't parent the parents. But that's the major problem here. We can't do anything with the children if the parent doesn't discipline the child. So, I don't know, it's a big problem. It's a really big problem here. And we can't pick and choose who has to follow the rules and who doesn't. Like, everybody has to follow the same rules, or the children will see. Like, children learn stuff. They will see, like, okay, well, they pick and chose this person, so all I have to do is go get my parent, they will cuss you out, and then I don't have to do anything. I can still do what I want to do. We can't do that as a school system because it's not working. It's not working at all. And I've seen some people's papers and from doctors who saying that bullying is a problem. It's sad. It's really sad here. And we try to get parents involved. I'm the PTA president at Blackstone Primary. So I'm trying to get the parents and the teachers to bridge that gap, because if we don't, it's just gonna keep going on. And I've tried everything in my power. I've begged people to join PTA. People just don't come out. They don't care. We have to do something so they care about their kids. I don't know what it's gonna take, and I hope it's not something bad, Exactly. Because it's a lot. And you guys deal with a lot, but somebody has to stand on business. And really, like when a few parents call and say something, if they feel that they can bully the staff and the students, other students, and the school board, they're gonna keep doing it if you give them the power to do it. And that's all I want to say.
All right. Thank you. Because that's the truth.
Next thing was school communication, school-to-home communication, teachers to parents regarding behavior, grades, attendance, administrators to parents as follow-up to teachers, positive phone calls, kudos versus only negative information. So as a parent, I want to know everything. I want to know the good, I want to know the bad. A lot of times it's really easy for anybody to focus just on the negative, but hearing those good things is something that we mentioned too that really, helps with everything overall. But we need to be, in my opinion, blowing the parents' phones up. If they're not getting what they need from those students at school, we've got to figure out a way to make those parents more accountable. I know everybody wants to blame the school, and I'm sure there's things that you guys can do to make that better, but it's not all just a school. I've seen it on both sides because I sub and I'm a parent of kids in multiple schools. I see both sides of it. And it's not just the school system, it's parents not being involved too.
It's everybody's problem.
It's everyone.
That's right.
It takes all of us. It takes all of us to make it better for our students.
Exactly right.
One source is not good.
Back to you, Reggie.
All right, we kind of already hit on this with some of the recommendations. What we had talked about is making sure that the discipline process is clearly defined. And just like Dr. Grimes said, as administrators, every summer we sit down and we look at it. We talk about what we can do better, how things can be worded differently. Just try to refine the process. But we talk about actually making sure that the teachers understand it more clearly and try to make sure the parents understand it more clearly. And even with the next, you can go to the next slide. All right, and this, the Code of Virginia section here, the lady just read that a little earlier. And we talked intensely about this as well, the bullying and what we can do, as well as, just like I said, to clarify to the parents and everybody the difference between bullying and peer conflict, because with us, we have to handle it totally different ways. If it's a true bullying situation, we investigate, we try to talk to everybody, we call home, and the process is to address it. But if it's a peer conflict where it's a back and forth, it's handled totally different. But a lot of times we get the same report as bullying, but it's not always bullying. But like I said, we had intensive conversations about that, and just like she said, and I'm not gonna stand here and say there's no bullying going on in the school. It happens. When you have young people together, there's disagreements, and we try to do the best we can to work through them and address them as they come to us.
Mr. Carlisle spoke passionately about the enforcement of discipline policies in the schools, as well as bullying versus peer conflict. I'm not going to try to put out the words that he said, but suffice it to say that, in summary, Mr. Carlisle's point was clearly made and clearly taken, that if it is written that this is the procedure that we follow, then we need to follow the procedure from the classroom all the way up through administration. Speaking similar to what Ms. Booker said, as well as Ms. Schrader, that you can't pick and choose who it is that you enforce it with because of how parents respond or not respond. And at the end of the day, schools administrators get hung up on language because when the reports are made based on specific words because that's the way it has to be reported to the state. But where we fall short and where we can certainly do better is talking to parents like people and not like the people at the Department of Education, and just making it clear, this last sentence of this slide, it doesn't matter whether it's bullying technically or not. If there's a report that comes to you, regardless of who it comes from, that a child feels like they are not welcomed in the school, like they are being picked on or bullied or harassed or whatever it is, it needs to be fully investigated. Parents need to be communicated with, even if the outcome is not what they want to hear, and then followed up on. And the consequences that need to be made. Speaking of consequences, I'll just say that I also think our administrators, in their efforts to try to explain things, again, fall back. They think that parents have the same level of understanding about the processes and the rules that they have and the people at the Department of Education has. It is inaccurate to say that a student in third grade or less cannot receive a consequence for negative behaviors. I think what the administrator was trying to convey is that there is a law that restricts what can happen to a child in third grade or below. And basically it says they can't be suspended more than 3 days at a time, but it doesn't mean they can't be consequenced for it. And so I think sometimes in their desire, their eagerness to try to explain, they muddy it up, kind of like Mr. Wilson did with this slide here. Because they're trying to walk the line of, well, what do I say without saying too much, but then they're hung up on the language. End of the day, it doesn't matter. I don't care if the child is technically bullied or not. If they don't feel like they're welcome, then it's a problem. Yes. And we need to figure it out.
Next slide. All right, one of the recommendations, and we kind of hit on it already, is to try to have some regular community parent chats or different events where we can get together and talk. Also, we're going to work hard to try to get our PTAs and different things, and hopefully even just people seeing this will be more inclined to join the school's PTA or be more involved with the schools, because we need all the help we can get, because it's hard when the only comments we get we see it on Facebook or somewhere else, instead of we having conversations where we can get positive feedback, well, even negative feedback, we get feedback and we can work together.
I just wanted to speak on this because it was one of my recommendations for PTA to start something like, after all talking about it, we said coffee chats or parent chats. It's a lot of people at Blackstone Primary, they like to have conversations, and we were trying to figure out the whole year, like, how could we do that? So when somebody else brought it up, I thought it was a good idea. This will be my second year, and we're gonna try to do that at least monthly. Like, just have community involved. It'll be a part of our community involvement. We do a lot of community involvement, but it's not a lot of talking and, talking stuff out. So we're gonna try that and see how that works. See if we can get some more involvement and have, calm conversations, get our points across and see, what's on everybody's mind. And then maybe we can get some more people to come and talk to you guys.
Do we have PTAs at all 5 schools?
No.
It's just the primaries, isn't it?
The parents don't come out.
All 5 schools are set up to have PTAs.
Yes.
The difficulty is the PTA is not a school organization. It has to be run by parents, and having parents who are willing to step up and to lead the organization is where the difficulty lies.
At the same time, though, I can say as a parent, I've never been reached out to ask to do it or don't know to do it.
Communication can be improved, absolutely.
So, I knew that there was one at Crew Primary because they've pushed it a lot there and they've messaged me about it and stuff, but I didn't know they did it for the other schools.
All right, next slide. All right, the ANTC, Ms. Sled was there with us, and we had some discussions about how we work together, because the students that go there obviously are our students and Amelia's, and they have their code of conduct is kind of a combination of the 2 schools.
So she and I and Ms. Hudgens, we communicate quite a bit about the A&TC expectations and how they mirror the high schools. And what we talked about doing, and we kind of do it anyway, but like if an infraction happens at A&TC, they will be disciplined at the high school. And then we also went and talked about some of the protocols, because they, in auto body and some of the classes, they using some heavy equipment or some machinery. And so restrictions about the heavy equipment, as well as if a student maybe is concussed from accident in PE or sports, they can't participate until they're cleared by the doctor, just like with any other activity. Board members, you all have any comments?
Yes, sir.
Very good.
Got a question.
Yes.
I understand, I probably don't fully understand the lack of parent participation and involvement. And I absolutely cannot imagine the family life that some of our students are existing in. And that's terrible. And what's the answer? I don't know about that. But I've got one question, and particularly for you, Mr. Wilson. What's the purpose of Nottoway County Public Schools?
It's to educate students.
What are we here for?
To educate students. To educate students.
When there is discipline problems in the classroom, how much education is taking place? And I will suggest to you, I've got 10 grandkids, and I've been around them. They're a wide range of ages. And they get distracted, and they can get distracted pretty easily. They don't care what anybody's saying. And that's exactly what's happening in our classrooms. And that needs to be, in my view, a large part of this discussion.
It was a large part of the discussion. And just like Dr. Grimes said, with the K3, where is certain regulations where they can only be suspended 3 days, is certain regulations all the way up. They vary with the incident of the consequence, but we just can't chop the head off and dismiss them. Is a process, and there's regulations that are outlined by the state that we have to follow.
And I understand that. And I believe also that there are alternative means that need to be explored. And I won't go into any of the details on that now. That's not really the place for that, or the time. But that, if education is suffering, we need to fix that.
Yes, sir.
How much longer do you think this committee needs to stay together?
Well, the committee is done. We met the number of times, and then we put the PowerPoint together in this presentation.
I hear what you're saying, Mr. Outlaw, and I somewhat agree, but I still feel like that parents really need to be involved, because I'm involved. You know, and I don't play.
And it shows in your child.
Yeah, so I don't play like that. So if a parent is not involved, now we're saying, Mr. Wilson, we need you to raise our children. That's what I'm seeing. No, you're not gonna raise my children. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna raise my children. And that's what all parents should be raising their children. When you send them to school, your discipline should be fine. All that's supposed to be at home. You understand what I'm saying? So that's nice and all, but I think it starts at home first. I'm from the old school. It starts at home first. And when you get to school, act up if you want to. There's gonna be a problem. That's all I gotta say.
Well, Charles and I were raised by the same father, I think.
You know, they like that.
At different times. I mean, it was just that circumstance. But my concern is,
If you don't mind, I'll provide clarification about the question about how long or how much longer the discipline committee needs to meet. I think that this committee, the work that was done was to the purpose of what was asked in that motion that was made and approved by the board. But that does not mean the work has to stop. You have a new superintendent who is very much aware of the concerns that have been raised, and not just from the members of the committee, but the parents who've been here for the last 3 months or so talking about bullying in schools. And the superintendent, the incoming superintendent, certainly has the prerogative to continue with this committee, to add to it, and to continue the work of refining and updating practices and communications about practices based upon parent feedback. The board also has the purview to form a board committee, if it so chooses, regarding this issue as well. But I would encourage the board to really, if it pleases the board, to really have those conversations with your incoming superintendent, who ultimately is responsible for working with your principals and administrators.
I appreciate that. I have one question. How many kindergartens through third graders were given 3-day suspension?
He's not going to have that.
I wouldn't have that information.
We probably get that information.
Yeah.
Get that information. I would like to know that also.
We talked about parenting, right?
I would like to know
And
that.
if a parent's not involved, but little Joey gets sent home for 3 days because he keeps saying things that are inappropriate, you know, calling someone fat or ugly or all of those kinds of things. You can call me old. I understand that. You can call me stupid. I will believe you from time to time. That won't hurt me, won't bother me. It might a 6 or 7-year-old.
Yes, sir.
It sticks with you for life,
If you
in some cases.
send that child home for 3 days, somebody at home is going to understand what's going on, and they're going to want to know why little Joey isn't in school today. I don't think we're utilizing all of the tools that are available to us. We want to be nice people. We want to be softer, kinder, gentler, and I'm in favor of that when it's appropriate. But these kinds of, this isn't the first time.
Right.
This isn't the first time we've had folks come up and talk to us. Now, I know that the other thing happens, right? It was in the newspaper just recently. The parent called the child, a 9-year-old, the gentle giant. And the gentle giant doesn't like his teacher. Therefore, he rebelled against that teacher. We don't hire teachers on a, are they going to be, is the student going to be happy with them? We hire them for completely different circumstances. But I don't think we're using all the tools that are available to us. In the current administration or hopefully in the future administration, it will be different.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just trying to patiently wait my turn. So I've got a lot to say here. So the biggest takeaway that I saw in this, I'm going to have to guide my notes here. Our policies are good. They are. They're aligned with the state. I cross-reference state. They are good. There's not a question. In fact, the entire committee agreed, and correct me if I'm wrong, the policies are good. We have guidance on discipline that holds schools and students accountable, as well as gives latitude for staff to take circumstances into consideration when disciplining. One note, Mr. Abbott, that you said when you said that parents would get upset with their children, 9 times out of 10, the parents get upset with the school.
Well, I agree with that.
Holding them accountable.
Sure do.
And it's hard, yes, we still have to do it. Now, with that all being said, some questions were raised about, well, what happens if you're consistently having the same problem again and again and again? The information that was received is that, and this has to do with the bullying aspect, because that's when you cross over into the bullying. So, first off, policies are good. That was the purpose of this, is to find out, are our policies good? And then what can we do to make our schools better? So, policies, check. One of the areas, topics was bullying and communication, okay? When it comes to the bullying, I asked the question, if there is a situation and it is deemed to not fit the definition of bullying, then what happens when it is repetitive behavior that involves the same students? The answer I received was that it falls under the guidance of holding students accountable, such as having those conversations with the students and explaining to the students that this behavior would not be tolerated, and then at that point, you progress in disciplinary procedures after that, regard if the student continues to perform those same actions. And then I asked, at what point do those repeated actions become bullying? And forgive me, I didn't see it in my notes, so I don't know if I didn't write it down or whatever, but I don't have the answer to that question. When it comes to bullying, I agree with everybody that we have behavioral issues. We do have concerns within the division. Part of the problem is the parents. I admit it, because parents have to hold their children accountable. And when a child is held accountable, you need to have that trust within the division and the families that you trust each other. You're telling me, Mr. Wilson, that my son did something, I don't trust you, I don't believe you, so I'm gonna come lash out at you because my son, Billy Joe Bob, couldn't have done that. And as you shared, you have to show the families the videos. So there was a breakdown of communication. There is a trust issue between the schools and between the families. My personal opinion is we do have a misunderstanding on the definition of bullying. One of the things that I have heard repetitively, and this could be self-taken, or I could misunderstand the definition as far as what it was presented to me was, what I have heard repetitively when it comes to the definition of bullying is power imbalance, power imbalance, power imbalance. And I truly believe that bullying had to possess from the individual who was doing the aggressive actions had to perceive that they were in a power over the victim. Because of this committee, I have, to me, a deepened understanding of the definition power imbalance and of bullying. If you read the definition, and it was read earlier and it was listed, the power imbalance could be that the victim perceives the power imbalance, not just the aggressor. And I know that Dr. Grimes hasn't had an opportunity to get it back to me, but one of the things that I question is, do we have a formula? And I didn't ask it in the committee, I didn't think of it at the time. Do we have a formula to define what is bullying? Do we have a sheet that we check off and that we break it down even further so we're consistent across all the schools, so we have a clearer understanding? Another thing that truly came out of the committee is accountability. It was admitted, I believe, by everybody in the committee, and if I'm wrong, I want to be corrected. We are not holding students, parents, administrators, teachers accountable. The students are having actions and they are not being held fully accountable. And I feel bad for our administration because they do get backlashes from parents severely. I know that. I've heard teachers say it to me. We're going to hear it from the parents. And that makes it so hard to do the job. And I get that. And I feel bad for it. But if we have to start holding these students, these parents, our teachers, and our administrators all must be held accountable if we want to move forward. So to sum it up, really look at that definition of bullying. And hopefully I covered what you were going to share, because I picked up the same thing, Dr. Grimes, that sometimes the bullying comes from the parents to the administrators.
And the teachers.
Yeah, and the teachers. And it's hard.
That's one thing that I was going to say is I feel like teachers need more support. I don't know how to give it to them, how you guys can, or it's a lot because, you know, everybody in the office, you have a lot of jobs. But the teacher also has to maintain control over the class, teach the class, and then deal with Johnny over here who can't sit still and be quiet and stop messing with everybody. And it does disrupt the whole class. And once that child is removed, in my perspective, 95% of the time, you're able to move on and everything's great. But if that kid keeps doing it, what do you do at that point? How long do you keep kicking them out of class and redirecting them and calling parents and doing all that?
It's one of the things
I talked about in the meeting.
That I've always said that when you, especially in these elementary years, when you have children who are showing a pattern of disruptive behavior, and I know, Dr. Grimes, you gave me guidance that you cannot, make children accept certain aspects of counseling or therapy or positive behavior support.
You can tell parents about it.
Right, you can tell them, but you cannot make parents accept things. Right. But perhaps for those students, we need to increase our PBIS, our positive behavior enforcement. We need to increase that. I know school-wide we have that. But those students would be your targeted students. Start training them and giving them those skills, because we all have sat up here and agreed it starts at home. And if they're not getting it at home, the best we can do as educators is to give them every single skill that we can and empower them in it. I get it. They still have to choose to do it. I get it. But at that young age, when we start targeting those children that we're seeing the patterns, they should be a target for us for the PBIS, and we should be targeting them to give them every single support that we can, more than what we are doing. And I'm not knocking what the schools are doing, because I know that they are trying. We have excellent teachers who love the students. They don't come here for a paycheck, and I know that, because they could go elsewhere. They do it because they love the kids. We have to find a way, as you said, we need to support them more. Teachers, we need to hear from you. What do you need? What do you need? How can we support more? And it doesn't help to say, I'm not getting help. Bring ideas. I was told a long time ago, don't bring a problem unless you bring a solution. Bring a solution. Give thoughts. Give ideas. Parents, give thoughts, give ideas. Parents, you want to see a change? Those who are saying, I'm having issues in the school and nobody's listening, get involved.
I was just going
Get involved. If you're not involved, nothing's going to change. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, I've sat here a few times, Mr. Outlaw has done the same thing, wanting parents to come to the meeting. Am I wrong? Wanting parents to come to the meeting. Say what you got to say. Keep bringing it. But this is what we got. This is what we got. So if you want change, come to the meeting. One more thing. Mr. Wilson, I had somebody to come and ask to tell me about you. And they said, well, first of all, they asked me was I up there. I was their representative. And I said, where you live? And I said, yes. So yeah, I had Mr. Wilson 10 years ago, whatever. And he didn't play. He didn't play. And she also said that her child is going to Chesterfield, and she wants to move him here. So I don't know if she's going to do that or not, because she said the bullying in Chesterfield is worse. It is worse than Chesterfield. So her child go there and actually really being bullied. So she has to go up to the school, and then she said what she's finding in Nottoway, because she got children or nieces or whatever go here. She said that I'm not going to say it's not happening, because that'd be a lie, but it is happening, but it's nowhere near, and not just Chesterfield, I've talked to others, not as near. So as educators, y'all keep doing your job, keep doing the best you can, keep fighting. And do investigate because you told me in the meeting, keep investigating everything that come to you, okay? These parents are coming, and I get it. Please say what you gotta say. But all these chairs here should be full of parents. If you're having that problem, should be full of parents. Let us hear it. If you gotta come at us like, come on. But you can't keep saying that and then this is what you got. That's all I have to say.
Anything else?
No, sir.
Yes, ma'am?
I just want to say one thing, and I'm not pointing fingers at your teachers, because we have some good teachers, but we have some teachers that need to be trained on these new age children, because they don't know how to handle the children. They don't know certain terms, they don't know certain behaviors. Some of your teachers can't follow directions, simple directions. So, I don't know.
Staff has a job too.
Yes, yes, sir.
Question. What is the first line of dealing with discipline problems in our schools by the Code of Virginia? It's in the law. And it hits right with what you're saying. It's the teacher. And the law is pretty clear on that. So what do they need to be able to do their job? Because that's the first line of defense, if you want to use that term. But
Thank you. Thank all of you.
thank you.
We appreciate it. Yes. Positive effort. We'll go on with the Burkeville feasibility update. Mrs. Meyer.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Short little updates tonight. I know I've got this one and one right after it. We met with the architect on May 28th. He took away some notes from that meeting of some clarification points that he is going to be adding to the report. So there should be a final report to me by the end of June, because that's what I've asked for, it is by the end of the month. Otherwise, I know that, we'd also kind of left the meeting with some potential other ideas for the building if indeed it just was not feasible to spend the money to renovate. And I did meet with Dr. August this week to listen to some of her ideas. When I was at conference a couple weeks ago, there were actually several school divisions who do run a community resource center. So I reached out to some of them just to get some information that I can be able to share with our new incoming superintendent, as well as with you all, just to have some other ideas of potential uses for that building, if we don't go the direction of actually opening it up as a school. So, hopefully as we continue work session conversations, we can continue conversations about what that could be and what that could entail, just so the building does not sit there and go to waste. So, there are some possibilities out there that we would be able to charge rent for and be able to, earn some potential income with. So I'd like to be able to, investigate and really research those ideas to see what we could potentially do and how that could impact us. So that's just a short little update for me this evening on that.
I appreciate the brevity of that. One concern that I have is if we try to convert it into some other application, is there anything that we're liable to have to change in that building so that it can be used by others?
That's things that we would have to research and understand. So I don't have the answer for that this evening.
ADA compliant restrooms and those kinds of things.
That could be potentially one of those, but I do know that, if it's a situation where we turn it into an actual community center, where we rent it out to other 501c3 organizations, they have grants available to them for renovation that we don't have access to. That would be able to potentially, help. Obviously, there's got to be legal agreements to be able to do some of these things to protect all parties, but there are options out there.
Am I understanding that we could be in the real estate business as far as our building leasing business or something like that?
Potentially, a lot of the school divisions have theirs sort of run through their community foundation, their education foundations. A lot of school divisions actually have a 501c3 organization within the school division. I believe Nottoway maybe used to have one many years ago, from just the research that I have been able to do. And a lot of those, the purpose of that 501c3 organization within the school division is actually to bring in donations and to bring in other streams of revenue that the actual school division is not able to go after, that it's a way for them to be able to raise money to do projects, to have other programs. A lot of, especially the larger school divisions have it because they have major corporations that like to donate a lot of money. And it goes through them versus it going to the school division. So there's different avenues that we can look at for trying to utilize that building for something good. And at the same time, being able to, one, cover the cost of operating the building and maintaining the building, and two, maybe even, earn enough revenue that we can use it to pay for programs at our other 5 schools, pay for potential renovations at our other 5 schools, depending on how much we can, revenue we might be able to pull in. So there are some options. And I'd like to be able to kind of at least research and understand them so that, you have a full comprehensive picture of what we can and cannot do.
Thank you. I'm going to ask the board, is there a date that any of you think we need to set as what I'll call the drop-dead date on decision-making when it comes to what we're going to do with that facility? I personally, and I'm just a member of the board, I want to be able to give Mrs. Meyer time to do this investigation, but at some point in time, we have to decide, because currently that building's costing us about $5,800, less $400 to $600 a month that we make in revenue. So it's costing us about $5 grand a month to keep it open, and we don't use it.
Use it strictly for storage.
So the county has loosely asked that the registrar be able to stay through the November election because they failed to do what they were supposed to do when it came to notifications and so on. So do we want to take and make December 31 the drop-dead date on what to do with that building?
I'm fine with that.
I was not at the meeting. I did give Ms. Myers a lengthy list of questions, and she just mentioned just before the meeting that she had just emailed me with the answers to many of those. I want to see the answers to my questions before I commit to anything or even think about committing to anything.
Well, I got a phone call from the county administrator last week, and I simply asked the question, is there a possibility of getting any support from the Board of Supervisors for funding? The answer came back in a rather simple 2-letter word, no.
Well, I mean, if these figures that we heard, I don't expect the Board of Supervisors to cough up $13 million. That's out of the question. Wouldn't even think of asking them for that. What are other means of getting the funding?
Well, that's
How about a bond issue? We've done that before. I think we did that for at least 2 of the gyms, the new gyms.
And the Board of Supervisors has to approve the bond issue because they're currently carrying the debt for that.
Correct.
Well, that's the same as asking the Board of Supervisors for X amount of dollars.
Same
Because
thing.
They're the taxing authority.
They're not underwriting the debt, are they? In a bond issue?
Well, the taxpayers of Nottoway County are underwriting the debt.
Right, but in effect, in a bond, the money is borrowed, correct? Okay.
And the only way they can borrow it is to use the good faith and credit of the Nottoway County.
Right.
And their ability to pay it off with their line item in the budget is debt, right?
And it's usually a
So,
20-year
and
bond.
since we've had a 20-plus tax increase the last 2 years, convincing the Board of Supervisors to come up with any amount of money is going to be a challenge. Not saying it isn't possible. That's why since the county wants us to keep the registrar in that building through November, I would use that as a target date, personally, as a target date. I would also like to explore 22.1-129. Code of Virginia, surplus property, sale, exchange, lease of real or personal property, and ask the Board of Supervisors to give the school the authority to do whatever it needs to do with that building.
What's the length of those bond issues for the?
Usually 20 years.
We had 2 bond issues, 2005, 2007. The 2007 one still has 2 years to pay.
It'll get paid off in July of 2027.
20 years.
And they're, I think, it's $178,000 or $278,000 is what's in the budget to pay the school's debt for that 2007 bond. Step to the next one.
Budget update. So just a small budget update this evening. I don't have final numbers in front of me. The state did provide us their final calc tool for the current fiscal year so that we know what our final payments are going to be. And then today I got an email saying that the state's sales tax revenue is higher than forecasted, so that we know that our final sales tax payments for FY25, which come in July and August, are going to be higher than what they anticipated. So right now, trying to pinpoint how much exactly we're going to have left over for the end of the fiscal year is a little difficult now that we know that we are going to get more sales tax than we were anticipating. And I said the final sales tax revenues for this fiscal year get paid out in July and August. Those always have to be accrued back. So we're kind of in this little limbo right now. But I will say preliminary numbers, we don't have a lot left. Which is, hopefully a good thing that shows that we're budgeting, a lot better and we're not having this large amount left over. So, as we continue to dig into these numbers over the next few weeks, once payrolls are complete, that really gives me a really good idea of where we're at and what we have left over, so that, come July and August, I can give you all a really true update as far as how much we have left over, how much needs to get carried over, what purchase orders will need to get carried over and be reappropriated. Those should be coming potentially July and August. I've been communicating with the county on potentially keeping our books open for 2 months, since we still get sales tax payments in July and August, and not closing out the fiscal year until the end of August and literally operating out of 2. There are several school divisions that do that, and it makes it easier because you're not having to accrue money back. That way we actually can pinpoint to the penny exactly how much we'll have left over, and for once maybe actually be to the penny what the auditors say, which is always a goal, is to make sure we match what the auditors say. So, you'll be coming either July or August, you'll get the information for the revenue that needs to get carried over and the reappropriation of any purchase orders that need to get carried over.
Thank you.
Simple budget, simple updates tonight.
Any questions? Hearing none, ANTC report, Mr. Outlaw?
Yes. ANTC has been busy. They're always busy up there, it seems, and they have made some really great progress in a lot of areas. First off, they had a social the end of this year, and that was a huge success. And if you have not been to see it, the bug that sits out front of ANTC, the Volkswagen Beetle bug, all of the students signed that. So that adds another level of interest, I think, for that. All of the credentialing has been completed for the year. ANTC has gotten approval to be a nurse's aid testing site, which is a plus because students don't have to go somewhere else to get that testing. That has not been completed. That testing has not been completed yet, but at least it will be done at ANTC. We have 3 medical assistant students that are in the process of going to interviews for jobs. 3 cosmetology students who graduated have jobs in that field. So those are 2 big pluses. We are currently without a custodian, and Ms. Sledzinski asked me to particularly give a shout out to Heather and Pam for all the help that they have rendered both in physical labor and equipment to get the school all cleaned up at the end of this year. And finally, the July ANTC meeting has been canceled. We will have a straw poll. There's a banking issue that needs to be taken care of, but that will be done with a telephone or email straw poll. The next meeting will be in September.
Thank you. Governor's School, Ms. Duncan?
Thank you. They just, of course, as you know, we've had multiple students graduate, which was an amazing thing to see how many Nottoway students have graduated with their degrees and certificates. New student and rising evening meeting was well attended. They did create a new boot camp for pre-calculus and calculus. Students are excited about it. It's being well received. All staff will receive a $1,000 bonus at the end of June. Nottoway did not fill all of their GVSS slots this year. All staff is receiving a step in pay and a 3% raise. The next meeting will be July 23rd.
Thank you. You can continue on with the SEAC report.
The next SEAC meeting has not been scheduled as of yet. This month, an email was sent out requesting meeting times. As I shared in my response to the meeting time offers, that I request reconsideration of the meeting times once we're able to get more parents to attend. I am attempting this summer heavily to get more parental involvement, to explain to parents that you don't need a degree, you need a student with an IEP. I didn't even realize what I did, but you know. But yes, I am working heavily in trying to get more parental involvement in that area, and I did make that request that we could look at the timing again, do another poll. But that is all for SEAC.
Thank you. Our superintendent's report, Dr. Grimes.
Thank you. This is my final report to the school board, my final school board meeting in Nottoway County Public Schools as a superintendent. It has been my pleasure and privilege to serve the students, staff, and community of Nottoway County Public Schools for the past 6 school years. I will be forever grateful to Jackie Hawks, Curtis Hurt, and Shelley Hinton for voting me in as superintendent, and to Bob Horn for being supportive during his term on the board my first 4 months in the position. From my first day, which was July 15, 2019, there were, quote, unprecedented, end quote, events that occurred. Perhaps most significantly, the pandemic of COVID-19 and the closing of schools effective Friday, March 13th of 2020. Despite those challenges to long-standing and long-established practices regarding what makes schools school, we, through the work of our teachers, administrators, and staff members, were able to continue to educate, feed, and support our students and our community during that time. As I reflect on my time here, I am proud to highlight that under my leadership, we modernized the financial accounting system and developed a strong and trusting relationship with the county administrators, plural, because there have been several, and the staff at the county administrator's office. We shifted quickly to providing each student with a device to use for at-home instruction during COVID. We were able to work within the budget we had to hire assistant principals for the 4 schools that did not have one, setting us up to have our school principals be able to focus on instructional leadership, which is their major role when students are present, rather than being managers, which is what they had been doing. And due to the paperwork that comes with that, not focusing as much as needed on student performance. Through my travels and networking, I identified new funding sources and new instructional resources that central office staff was able to apply for and secure, so that students had the opportunity to learn, as an example, by way of VR instruction, and updated radios for communication were secured, and a massive grant, was it $14 million? $12 million was used to begin updating our building's HVAC and energy efficiency. A significant amount of time has been put into professional development of our principals, teaching them to think and act as instructional leaders, not managers. We started about 4 years ago with Ronis explaining and practicing with principals what it means to set and model the expectations for a positive school climate and culture. Then we started about 3 years ago with Abbott Consulting, working directly with principals on conducting walkthroughs and observations and providing feedback focused on alignment and what I call productive struggle for improved student outcomes. For the past 2 years, we've worked with principals, assistant principals, and teacher leaders from each building, as well as the central office leaders with UVA, on putting everything together and using the 90-day plan as the strategic guide for the division and for each school. Research says it takes about 3 to 5 years for outcomes to be seen, and that has been true for us. Scores are improving. There's still work to be done. We want scores to be higher, but there have been improvements, and our principals have grown leaps and bounds in understanding what instruction should look like and how it should occur in the classrooms. To the staff, the cafeteria workers, the custodians, the maintenance team, the mechanics, the bus drivers, the supervisors, the support staff, the third-party contract workers serving our students, the aides, the nurses, the school counselors, the librarians, the social worker, the school resource officers, the school office staff, the central office team, the school-based administrators, and the leadership cabinet. Because of each of you showing up each day and putting your heart into this work that we do, striving to be champions for our students, we have made a difference. Thank you for making my time here productive and fulfilling. Godspeed.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Grimes. Matters of School Board Interest, July 25th, the VSBA Conference on Education in Richmond. Please note that Dr. Martin will not be attending. August 11th is the Back to School Parking Lot Party. August 15th is convocations. There will be a July work session. It is not listed, but there will be a July work session. And I will share with you at least 2 items that I am aware of. We all need, the 5 board members need to come prepared to discuss goals and objectives so that we can meet with Dr. Martin in August and share with her our feelings on those things that will be part of her evaluation. As Mr. Outlaw mentioned, we need to come prepared to discuss the phone policy and modifications, changes, recommendations. For other, Mr. Rowe.
I'd just like to say, I want to reiterate what's been said, especially to ones that are watching online. We need the community support, and we need their presence, and we need their ideas. We were elected to represent the people. We don't know everything. We need the support of parents and citizens to be present at these meetings and to let us know. Like Mr. Wilson said, these seats should not be empty like this.
That's right.
We need the voices, we need their ideas, and we need their presence. We're representatives. We were voted by the citizens of each of our 5 districts. And and we need their presence and we need their voices. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wilson?
I'm going to reiterate it again.
Yeah. It's worth hearing
If you
again.
have a student in Nottoway County Public Schools, then you should be in these seats right here. It should never be empty. Oh, you have the problems, you have the different things that's going on. I get it. I get it. But you should be here. I get you want us to talk, but you don't say that and then you just leave. That might be the wrong thing to say, but I'm gonna say it anyway. You should still be here. We just had this conversation. Well, nobody in those seats. So what do you want us to do? You just said it, we're just representatives. We need to hear your voice. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Mrs. Duncan?
I could, toot the same horn. Y'all know every single time I ask for SEAC participation. I do need to get up with Ms. Brown. I need to catch with you. I lost your information. I know you said that you wanted contact and I misplaced it, so I need your information again, please. But yes, be involved, be part of the change. Change can happen. Not saying we've got bad schools, because we've got great schools. We do. We have great students. We have great administrators. We have great everything. There is room for improvement, and if you want things to change, be part of the change.
That's right. That's right.
I do wish to ask for an update on, I'd love to hear an update on the energy grant. The next board meeting, if you could, please. Let us know the things that we've accomplished with it, what we still have left to do. In the next month or two, I would like to hear from our incoming superintendent an update either at work session is fine with me if the board agrees on the 90-day plan that the schools have, as well as the special education routine monitoring that was conducted by VDOE. I'd like to hear the results of that and the action plan for anything that needs to be adjusted, modified, changed in that realm. Other than that, I really want to say thank you to those who committed their time for the committee. It was truly open, honest, and at times raw conversations. I was most impressed at the parents' ability to speak what they thought.
It was good.
And I loved that. And I hope that the schools take away with the chats. I realize parent participation is small. I get that. But mighty things come in small packages. And when you get started and you get moving, it can grow. I like the idea of communicating that with the families, helping families understand. As Dr. Grimes pointed out, sometimes when we don't talk on the same playing field. I can have a conversation regarding special education with Charles beside me, and if I'm using acronyms and I'm using the big words and everything else, he's not going to understand what I'm saying. So I appreciate that these things were brought out, and hopefully, as Mr. Abbott alluded to, that perhaps we do need to look into doing something on a more regular basis. I'm not sure. I'm not saying we do. I'm not saying we don't, but I'm saying it's worth listening to our constituents. It's worth listening to our administration. It's worth listening to our teachers. How can we help? What can we do? Again, don't come empty-handed. Help provide and be part of the solution. That's all.
Thank you. Mr. Outlaw?
Several months ago, we as a board voted on governance norms and protocols that we would adhere to. And I think it's time that we are reminded of what we voted on. And I'm going to read those items. We agree to employ the following norms in all our interactions. We will hear each opinion and ultimately act as one. We will speak candidly and courteously to each other and listen to dissenting or different viewpoints with an open mind. Once we reach a decision or compromise as a board, we will each support the will of the board. The chair or designee will speak as the official voice of the board. A single board member will not represent the board without the consent of the board, and the board members making personal statements in any format, including speeches, articles, social media, etc., should clearly state that these statements are their opinion and not the position of the board. We will be mindful of the different roles and responsibilities throughout the school system and maintain a focus on policy, governance, and improving the education of NCPS students. We will be aware of the different roles that we play as individual board members. We will be focused on our work as a board and support the day-to-day operations of the school system, which is the responsibility of the superintendent. We will maintain open communication with each other, the administration, and the community at large. Information shared with one board member will be shared with all members as practicable.
I have a couple of things. First of all, I'd like to thank those that handled the graduation. It wasn't perfect, but it worked out, and we beat the rain.
Yes, indeed.
We also had the opportunity to hear from the assistant principal about some of the scores, the test scores, that show improvement at the high school. It's always good to hear good news. I also think I owe the sports director a bit of an apology. I think he wanted to make a speech or make a presentation this evening, and I thought there was space on the agenda, and it didn't work out that way, so I'm going to invite him back next meeting so that he can have that opportunity. And then more on a personal note, in an email that I asked our clerk to send to the board, I mentioned at the last board meeting that there was an issue, a parliamentary issue that I failed to handle. A parliamentary procedure was violated. It's been past practice that members speak without going through the chair. Until last meeting, that has been acceptable. Once a motion is made, it is followed by a second, then discussion with a vote, following all discussion. Each of you may recall that Ms. Duncan mentioned Mr. Outlaw in her remarks prior to her vote at that last meeting. I interrupted her, indicating that it was time to vote. She continued with her prepared statement. In my humble opinion, I think her comments were inappropriate. Hopefully, we can get past and focus on the division. We all have differences. Can we do it with decency is all I ask. May I have a motion for a closed resolution?
May I speak again, Mr. Chairman?
Well, others is finished. We need to go to the closed resolution.
So that is a no?
Correct.
I am pulling it up to read it, but I think that is not in alignment with it, but I will go ahead with what you're saying. Pursuant to Section 2.2-3711A of the Code of Virginia, I move that the board convene a closed meeting for the purpose of discussing the following specific matters. A1, the consideration of personnel for A, 26 appointments, 2 custodians, 1 health and PE teacher, 1 art teacher, 3 substitute, 1 principal, 4 teacher leaders, 1 temporary instructor, 1 reading specialist, 1 librarian, 1 assistant principal, 7 elementary teachers, 1 English teacher, and 2 math teachers. B, informational, 15 resignations. C, 1 retirements. D, 1 termination. And E, personnel matters.
You've heard the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Excuse me, 14 resignations. I apologize.
This was crossed out.
There was a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by